Right, we are talking pharmacy and we are talking 4 ways that a pharmacy can earn income. Let me tell you something. If you change the way that you think about pharmacy, there's more than 4 ways. As always, folks, subscribe, like, and share, and let's get into this video. Now, before I start, just a reminder to everybody who's watching this video that life is very unpredictable, and try to live it with the best of intentions and try to make the most of your life. And just be careful how you take your time and what you do in your time, because we don't have much time on this world. Having said that, what can you be doing in your pharmacy to make sure that you can earn all the different income streams? Now, we've spoken about 4. Well, we're going to talk about 4. The first one is the NHS income. It's the core business that everybody talks about. You have a pharmacy, so what do? You dispense medication. And the reality is, when you're dispensing medication, what you're getting paid is around £1.50 odd for every time you dispense. Now, I'm going to put this in a very, very crude way, and I mean this with respect. But essentially, what you're doing as a pharmacy is a process that can be automated. That is where you get a prescription, you print a label, you have that label put into the box, the medication is checked, and you hand it out to the patient. That's the process. That's what you're getting paid £1.52 for. And the reality is that process can be automated and is being automated. So be mindful of that. But that's one way that a pharmacy earns income. Some interesting facts actually, that the 2026-27 activity fee went from £1.46 to £1.52. So it did increase, but I don't think it increased by much, because inflation has increased, cost of living has increased, staff salaries have increased, electric, gas, bills, all have gone up and have shot over the roof. So we have had a bit of an increase, but I think it was necessary. It hasn't really increased to increase the bottom line of your profit. And you might think, well, what's £1.52? It's not a lot, but when you multiply it by 10,000 items, 20,000 items, it does start to add up. That's essentially how that works. The other way is NHS services. Now, NHS services include things like contraception services. And I believe we get paid, what's the number? We're getting paid around £25 per contraception service. That's where you have a patient and you either initiate the contraception medication, or what you do, you begin to, if they've already had the contraception, they need another supply, you can start the supply again. So not bad, but again, very limited, because not every patient is on contraception. You then have pharmacy first, where the intention is to allow a pharmacist to be able to help patients with minor conditions, for example, UTIs, earaches. We have various other things like bites, shingles, so on. And that, I believe, can be increased further. But again, you start to think about, why £18? Why not slightly more? But again, that's another way that you can generate income. But the trouble is, it's not in your hands, because it's something that has to be referred from a clinician or a surgery, and the patient has to walk in. I think there should be a free option where pharmacists can prescribe medication should they see fit for a patient for a particular condition. And that's where we move on to nicely. And that is where you have the NHS prescribing service in England that is starting now, where you get paid around £500 for the setup and £525 monthly fees if you are going to be undertaking prescribing services. Again, the conditions are very limited. You can't just prescribe pretty much anything that you wanted, unlike in Scotland and Wales to some degree, but it is going to change. So far, what do we have? We have way number 1, NHS. That's your dispensing fees. That's your services. Way number 2 is over the counter. Now, I want to draw your attention in parallels to Boots and Lloyd's, institutions that have been doing this for a very long time, where they have a pharmacy business that draws in the customer, but where they do really well is the over-the-counter trade. They have beauty products, they have general sales products, they also have got into food. So again, a pharmacy can do well there as well. And remember that a pharmacy is it's a shop if you're not online. In that shop, you can sell everything and anything. That's the key thing to remember, that you can sell everything and anything, so keep that in mind. Then what do we have is, which I would say another way would be, look at your organization as a group of people who've come together to better people's lives. Why don't you think about training and education? In fact, pharmacy have been doing it for years. If you're watching this and you're a pharmacist, where do you do your pre-registration? That's the 1 year training you have to do before your final exam. You've probably done that in a community pharmacy, you might have done that in a GP practice, or you may have done that in an NHS hospital. Training and teaching, absolutely fantastic because you're sharing knowledge and that's something that stays for life. So these are 4 ways that a pharmacy can earn income. There are multiple ways that you can do it. In fact, I think that every pharmacy should have not just NHS services, but private services where you have, for example, doctors sat in, dentists sat in, a nurse sat in, aesthetics, weight loss, ADHD treatments, everything that you can think of that you can better people's lives. And if you want to introduce those services, get in touch. We can absolutely help you organize to find your prescribing services from start to finish. So we can organize a DPP for you, organize various training for you. As always, folks, thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and share. Let's make a difference in this world.